Imagine standing at a crossroads in life where things may not feel quite right. You feel stuck, uncertain, or maybe a little lost, as if life has been on autopilot, and you're starting to realize that this version of yourself isn't the fullest, truest expression of who you are. That feeling, that awareness that change is necessary, is incredibly powerful. But here's the challenge: recognizing the need for change is one of the most important steps, yet it's often the hardest, because it means coming face to face with what isn't working. Too often we get caught up in routines, responsibilities, or habits that were once good for us, or maybe never served us at all. And without realizing it, we can start to lose ourselves in the noise and patterns of everyday life. But recognizing the need for change, that's like waking up and finally seeing that you have the power to rewrite your story, to let go of what isn't helping you grow. It's that eye-opening realization that tells you this life as it is could be so much more if you're willing to rebuild. This recognition often comes with a mix of emotions: excitement, fear, hope, and sometimes even grief over letting go of parts of ourselves that we once held close. And that's okay. All of these emotions are valid and important in this process. The discomfort you may feel about leaving old parts of yourself behind isn't a sign of weakness. It's a sign that you're growing, that you're on the verge of something new and better. Sometimes the things we're most comfortable with are the very things holding us back, so feeling that discomfort is actually a powerful indicator that you're moving in the right direction. And let's not forget that the need for change doesn't always have to come from a place of pain or crisis. Sometimes it's simply a whisper, a subtle feeling that you're meant for more, that there's a greater version of you waiting to be uncovered. It's that little voice saying, yes, you've done well, but there's more out there, and listening to that voice takes courage, because it means you're open to discovering new parts of yourself, new strengths, new passions, and even new challenges. It's about stepping outside your comfort zone and allowing yourself to grow in ways you may not have considered before. When we talk about recognizing the need for change, we're talking about a deep, personal awareness that only you can tap into. No one else can tell you when it's time to change, because at the end of the day, you are the expert on you. Others might encourage you, give advice, or point things out, but only you know when you're ready to take that step toward rebuilding. And that's the beauty of this journey. It's yours. It's as unique as you are, with all your experiences, strengths, and dreams. You're building something only you can create. So when you feel that pull, don't ignore it. Honor it. Recognize it as a gift, a sign that you're on the edge of something great. You're about to embark on a journey that may be challenging. That will definitely ask a lot from you, but one that holds the potential to transform every aspect of your life. This is where it all begins, this awareness, this readiness to step forward and take control, not out of fear, but out of a deep desire to be the best version of yourself. And once you recognize the need for change, that's when the true rebuilding begins. This is your journey to start, and only you can decide where it goes from here. When we talk about rebuilding ourselves, it starts with one fundamental step: letting go of the past. This isn't about erasing memories or pretending things didn't happen. It's about freeing ourselves from the weight of what no longer serves us. Think about how much of your identity, your beliefs, and your habits are shaped by past experiences that may be holding you back more than you realize. Often we hold on to things out of familiarity, out of habit, or simply out of fear that if we let them go, we'll lose part of who we are. But sometimes those old parts of us are the very things that keep us from stepping into who we are meant to become. Letting go isn't easy, and it's not a one-time action. It's a practice, a commitment to continuously release the things that no longer align with the future you want to build. For many of us, letting go means facing those memories, those past failures, or even the labels we've attached to ourselves for years. We might think, I'm not smart enough for this, or I've always been this way, so change isn't for me. But imagine the freedom of releasing these limiting beliefs, the stories you've told yourself about who you are, and opening up to new possibilities. It's like clearing away the old debris that's been piling up in your mind, making space for something fresh and full of potential. Letting go also means forgiving yourself. For so many of us, there's this sense of carrying around guilt, disappointment, or even shame for past choices. But holding on to these emotions only keeps us rooted in the past, unable to move forward. Forgiving yourself doesn't mean you're saying those mistakes didn't matter. It means you're acknowledging that you're human, that you're allowed to grow, and that those past choices don't define you. They were a part of your journey, lessons you needed to learn, but they're not your final destination. When you forgive yourself, you're giving yourself permission to start fresh, to rebuild without the constant weight of self-judgment. Then there's the act of releasing old relationships or patterns that don't contribute to who you want to become. Some connections, even with people we care about, may not align with our path forward. It's not that these people are bad, or that you're better off without anyone. It's about understanding that some relationships belong in a past chapter of your life. If they're keeping you rooted in an old version of yourself, it's okay to release them with gratitude. You can honor the role they played in your life without letting them define where you're headed. Releasing also applies to old routines, habits, and behaviors that you may have adopted to cope or survive in the past. Maybe at one point you needed to act a certain way to fit in or to get through a difficult situation. But if those behaviors no longer support the person you're becoming, it's time to let them go. When you're rebuilding yourself, you need to be intentional about the habits and routines you choose to keep, making sure they're aligned with your highest goals. Letting go is an ongoing, intentional process. It's like tending to a garden. You pull out the weeds so that new life can grow. And while it can feel uncomfortable or even painful, each step you take in releasing the past is a step closer to your authentic self, closer to the version of you that you know is possible. Now, embrace this process with patience, knowing that you're creating space for growth, for transformation, and for a future that's truly aligned with who you are at your core. In the end, letting go isn't about loss, it's about making room for something greater. As we dive deeper into the journey of rebuilding ourselves, there's a powerful stage that comes next: self-rediscovery. It's about reconnecting with who you are beneath the roles you play, the expectations you carry, and the pressures around you. When was the last time you truly asked yourself, what do I want? What makes me come alive? Self-rediscovery isn't just about uncovering what's already there. It's about exploring parts of yourself that you may have never allowed yourself to fully know. This is your moment to see yourself with fresh eyes, free from the past and open to new possibilities. For many of us, self-rediscovery feels foreign or even selfish, but it's actually one of the most self-honoring acts we can undertake. It involves looking at our strengths, our values, our passions, and reconnecting with the dreams we may have set aside long ago. Often as we grow up, we absorb what others want for us or think we should be, losing pieces of our authentic selves in the process. Think back to when you were a child or a young person with big dreams. Maybe those dreams felt silly back then, or maybe someone told you they weren't realistic. But in this stage of rebuilding, we're reclaiming the right to dream again, to explore what truly resonates with us. In rediscovering ourselves, it's also important to reconnect with our values. Our values are the core principles that define what we stand for, what we find meaningful, and how we wish to live. When we lose sight of these values, it's easy to feel disconnected or aimless. But as we begin to get reacquainted with what we genuinely care about, we start to anchor ourselves in purpose. Your values are like a compass pointing you toward actions and choices that align with your deepest sense of truth. This isn't about following anyone else's vision for your life. It's about identifying and living by what feels most authentic to you. Another beautiful part of self-rediscovery is exploring your strengths and gifts. We all have unique talents, skills, and qualities that, when nurtured, allow us to bring value to the world. But how often do we genuinely appreciate these strengths? Sometimes they're overlooked because they come naturally to us. Other times, they're hidden because we're too busy trying to be something we're not. Rebuilding means taking time to notice these gifts, to nurture them, and to use them in ways that align with your purpose. When we lean into our strengths, we begin to build a life that feels natural, fulfilling, and in harmony with who we truly are. Self-rediscovery also requires curiosity and openness. It's about stepping outside the comfort zones and routines you've built and allowing yourself to try new things. Maybe there's a part of you that's drawn to art, to building, to teaching, or to learning a new skill. Self-rediscovery gives you permission to explore these interests without the pressure of success or perfection. You're not doing this to prove anything. You're doing it to connect with yourself on a deeper level. By trying new things and allowing yourself to be curious, you uncover layers of yourself that you didn't know existed, enriching your experience of life. And remember, self-rediscovery isn't about reaching a final destination. It's a continuous journey of growth and evolution. We are constantly changing, learning, and expanding. So embrace the fact that who you are today may not be who you are a year from now, and that's okay. Each step you take in exploring yourself opens up new doors, new insights, and new opportunities to live authentically. When you give yourself permission to rediscover and redefine who you are, you're creating a foundation for a life that's truly yours, built on your terms, and in alignment with your highest self. In the end, self-rediscovery is a gift you give yourself. It's a way of saying, I am worth knowing, I am worth exploring, and I am worth exploring, and I am worth the time it takes to build a life that honors who I am. So as you move through this journey, be kind to yourself, stay curious, and embrace every part of this beautiful process. Another essential step in rebuilding ourselves is creating strong, empowering habits. Habits shape our lives far more than we might realize. They are the small, consistent actions that over time lay the foundation for transformation. Imagine if each day, through intentional habits, you planted seeds that would grow into the person you want to become. What would those habits look like? They could be simple acts, but when repeated with purpose, they add up to profound changes. Developing positive habits means committing to a daily practice of growth, even when you don't see the results immediately. This is about long-term dedication to becoming the best version of yourself. Think of the habits you may already have, whether intentional or not. Every day we're guided by routines, often without even noticing. When rebuilding ourselves, it's powerful to assess these routines, decide which ones serve us, and which might be holding us back. Start by identifying a few key areas of your life you'd like to improve, like your physical health, mental clarity, or relationships. Maybe it's as simple as deciding to wake up a little earlier each morning to create space for reflection, or perhaps it's committing to reading every day to expand your knowledge. By aligning our habits with our goals, we become intentional architects of our lives. The beauty of habits is that they work behind the scenes. Once established, they require less mental energy and effort. When you make positive actions automatic, you're freed from constantly making decisions, so your energy can go toward growth rather than deliberation. Take, for example, a habit of daily exercise. Once it becomes second nature, you don't have to convince yourself every morning to move your body. It's simply part of your routine. And as you know, Regular exercise does far more than improve physical health. It boosts mood, sharpens focus, and reinforces resilience, all of which are crucial in the process of rebuilding ourselves. Habits are also powerful because they create a ripple effect across your life. Improving one area often has a positive impact on others. A habit of mindfulness, for instance, might lead to better emotional regulation, allowing you to handle challenges with a calm and clear mind. This in turn impacts your relationships, your work, and even your sense of self-worth. Each positive habit supports others, creating a supportive system that encourages growth from all directions. It's not just about the act itself, it's about the strength and resilience you build in the process. One important aspect to remember about habits is the need for patience and persistence. In today's fast-paced world, we often want immediate results, but real change takes time. This is why rebuilding through habits is so effective. It's sustainable, realistic, and adaptable to life's fluctuations. When you focus on small, consistent actions, you're far less likely to become discouraged if you don't see immediate changes. Instead, you build a life that feels achievable and maintainable. The key is to start small, stay consistent, and remember that each step, no matter how minor, brings you closer to your goals. Creating empowering habits also means letting go of those that don't serve you. This can be challenging, but rebuilding requires shedding what no longer aligns with your vision of yourself. It might mean cutting back on activities that drain your energy or distancing yourself from influences that keep you stagnant. By releasing old habits, you create space for new growth-oriented practices. Think of it as decluttering your daily life to make room for more empowering choices. In letting go of what doesn't serve you, you're signaling to yourself that you value your growth and that you're committed to a brighter, more fulfilling path forward. In the end, building empowering habits isn't just about making good choices. It's about defining the person you want to become and stepping into that identity. Habits are tools to bring your vision to life, and with each intentional action, you're rewriting your story. So embrace the journey, trust the process, and remember that every small, purposeful choice is a powerful step in the direction of your highest self. Rebuilding ourselves also requires embracing failure as part of our journey. This is perhaps one of the most challenging yet rewarding steps, because when we look at failure as something valuable, it transforms from a setback into a stepping stone. Think about it, every great success story you've ever heard is likely filled with moments of failure. These moments, while painful and disheartening, are full of lessons that we simply cannot learn in any other way. They shape us, refine us, and give us the perspective we need to truly understand the path we're on. It's easy to fall into the trap of seeing failure as a sign to stop or give up. Society often reinforces this, labeling failure as something to avoid at all costs. But if we shift our mindset and start viewing failure as feedback, it becomes a tool that guides us towards success. Each time we fall short, it reveals areas where we can grow. It teaches us about our strengths, our weaknesses, and the adjustments we need to make to move forward with wisdom. Embracing failure means we're willing to learn from our mistakes, willing to face discomfort, and willing to use our setbacks as fuel to drive us further. Failures also teach resilience, a quality that becomes essential when rebuilding ourselves. If we shy away from failure, we never develop the endurance that true growth requires. Resilience is the ability to pick ourselves up after a fall, to dust ourselves off, and to keep going even when the path is tough. It's built through repeated attempts, through getting back up again and again. When you allow failure to strengthen your resilience, you become unstoppable, because setbacks no longer have the power to hold you down. Instead, they become experiences that fortify you, giving you the grit to press on. Think of the people you admire most, those who have achieved great things or made an impact on the world. More often than not, their stories are filled with moments of failure. They didn't reach their dreams by avoiding mistakes, they reached them by facing their challenges head-on and by learning from every experience along the way. These individuals prove that failure isn't something to be feared, but something to be feared, but something to be harnessed. They show us that every mistake carries a lesson, every misstep a chance to learn, and that in each of these moments we are being prepared for the success ahead. Failure also teaches humility, which is an important part of the rebuilding process. When we fail, it reminds us that we are human, that we are in a constant state of learning and growth. It helps us stay grounded, connected, and empathetic to others who are also facing challenges. Embracing our own mistakes makes us more compassionate, because we understand firsthand the courage it takes to try, fall, and rise again. This humility connects us with others and reminds us that we are all on a journey, learning as we go. By welcoming failure, we allow ourselves to experiment, to be bold, and to take risks that can lead to extraordinary outcomes. When we fear failure, we hold ourselves back, playing it safe and avoiding the unknown. But when we embrace it, we open doors to opportunities we might never have imagined. Rebuilding ourselves requires this kind of courage, the courage to risk failing, knowing that each fall is simply a chance to rise higher. In this way, failure becomes a catalyst for our growth, a powerful force that pushes us closer to the life we envision for ourselves. In the end, failure isn't the opposite of success, it's part of the path to it. If we see it that way, we become unafraid to take chances, unafraid to pursue our dreams with our whole hearts, knowing that even if we fall short, we are still growing, still moving forward. We realize that each setback is setting us up for a comeback, that every challenge we face brings us closer to becoming the person we were meant to be. Embrace your failures, let them teach you, and know that they are paving the way for your future success. Rebuilding ourselves often means confronting and letting go of past limitations that no longer serve us. These limitations can take many forms: old beliefs, negative thoughts, harmful habits, or even relationships that keep us from growing. Sometimes these limitations are things we've held onto for so long that they feel like they're part of us, woven into our identity. But to truly rebuild ourselves, we have to recognize these limitations for what they are: weights holding us back, preventing us from moving forward with freedom and purpose. Think about the power of beliefs. Our beliefs shape how we see the world, and more importantly, how we see ourselves. Some beliefs empower us, but others restrict us. Maybe we believe that we're not capable of achieving certain things, or that we're destined to struggle, or that success is only for other people, not for us. These beliefs can settle deep within us, influencing our actions and limiting our potential. But the moment we start questioning them, we open a door. We allow ourselves to see new possibilities, to understand that these beliefs aren't facts, they're just ideas we've held onto. By challenging them, we're giving ourselves permission to redefine our lives, to rewrite our story in a way that supports our growth. Letting go of old habits is another essential step in the rebuilding process. Habits are powerful because they're actions we repeat without even thinking about them. But not all habits lead us to our goals. Some habits are simply comfortable routines that keep us stuck, that prevent us from moving in a new direction. For example, if we want to become more disciplined, we might need to let go of habits that waste our time or drain our energy. This can be difficult because habits feel safe and familiar, even if they're not helpful. But by letting go of old habits and consciously choosing new ones, we're taking control of our lives, steering ourselves toward the future we desire. Sometimes the limitations we need to release come in the form of relationships. People can profoundly impact our journey, either lifting us up or holding us back. It's not about blaming anyone, but sometimes the people we surround ourselves with aren't aligned with the person we're becoming. They may not understand our growth or may unconsciously discourage us from moving forward. Part of rebuilding ourselves involves creating a space where only those who support our journey, who truly believe in our potential, are invited in. It can be challenging to set these boundaries, especially with people we care about. But in order to become our best selves, we need to surround ourselves with people who encourage our evolution. Letting go of the past also means releasing the weight of regret, resentment, or pain that we may carry. These emotions can be powerful anchors, keeping us rooted in places we've long outgrown. But when we hold on to resentment or regret, we're giving away our power, we're allowing our past to shape our present, and ultimately our future. Part of rebuilding ourselves is about forgiveness, not just forgiving others, but also forgiving ourselves for mistakes we've made, for things we wish we'd done differently. Forgiveness doesn't mean forgetting, it means freeing ourselves from the emotional burdens that keep us stuck. When we let go of these feelings, we make room for joy, peace, and a fresh start. This journey of releasing limitations is not something that happens overnight. It's a gradual, often challenging process, but with each limitation we let go of, we find a new freedom, a new lightness. We start to understand that we're not defined by our past, by our mistakes, or by the old versions of ourselves that no longer serve us. Rebuilding is about creating space for growth, for transformation, and for becoming the person we were always meant to be. So as you rebuild, be courageous enough to let go. Embrace the freedom that comes with releasing old limitations and step boldly into a future that reflects the truest, most empowered version of yourself. As we move forward in the process of rebuilding ourselves, there's an essential piece that can't be overlooked: cultivating a spirit of resilience. Resilience is what allows us to rise up again and again, no matter how many times we fall. Life is bound to bring challenges our way. That's something none of us can escape. But resilience is what transforms those challenges from roadblocks into stepping stones. It's that inner strength, that unwavering spirit that says, I can make it through this. And the beautiful thing about resilience is that it grows each time we face adversity. Every time we pick ourselves back up, we become a little stronger, a little more prepared for whatever life has in store. Resilience isn't just about bouncing back, though it's about finding purpose and meaning in every experience, even the hard ones. Sometimes the very struggles that seem to hold us down are actually building us up in ways we can't yet see. Maybe we don't understand why we're going through certain hardships or why the road feels so long, but every challenge has a lesson. It teaches us patience, it shapes our character, and it refines our vision for what truly matters. When we embrace resilience, we start to see obstacles differently, not as something to fear or avoid, but as opportunities to grow. It's about having the courage to face difficulties head-on, knowing that with each struggle we're becoming a more capable, wiser version of ourselves. Think about the power of resilience in the face of failure. We all experience moments when things don't go as planned, when we fall short of our goals or make mistakes. But failure doesn't define us, it's simply part of the journey. In fact, it's often the most important part of the journey. Those moments of failure teach us things success never could. They teach us humility, adaptability, and the value of perseverance. And when we fail but choose to be again, we're not starting from scratch, we're starting from experience. That experience builds resilience, making us better equipped for the future. So instead of fearing failure, we can learn to embrace it, to see it as an integral part of our growth, a part of what's making us stronger. Resilience also has a powerful effect on our mindset. It encourages us to shift from a place of "I hope I can" to "I know I will." When will we face setbacks? It's easy to question ourselves, to wonder if we have what it takes to keep going. But resilience reminds us that strength is not about never struggling, it's about continuing on despite the struggles. It's about holding on to our vision for the future and trusting that we're capable of reaching it. This mindset doesn't just change how we handle challenges, it changes how we see ourselves. We start to believe in our ability to overcome, to achieve, and to succeed no matter what obstacles arise. Resilience is also about finding a deep sense of inner peace amid uncertainty. Life is unpredictable, and there will be times when the future feels unclear, when things aren't going according to plan. In those moments, resilience allows us to find peace in the process, to trust that everything is unfolding as it should. It gives us the patience to keep going, even when we don't have all the answers. And with resilience, we learn to let go of the need to control every outcome. Instead, we focus on what we can control: our own actions, our responses, and our dedication to keep moving forward. This shift brings a sense of calm and confidence that carries us through life's ups and downs. As we rebuild ourselves, resilience becomes one of our greatest assets. It's what allows us to see challenges not as barriers, but as stepping stones, each one bringing us closer to our true potential. And with each step, each moment of perseverance, we're reinforcing that inner strength, building a foundation of confidence that nothing can shake. So let resilience be the driving force as you move forward, trusting that whatever challenges come your way, you have the strength within to face them and emerge even stronger. As we rebuild ourselves, we often need to redefine what success means to us. In our culture, success is often portrayed as something very material, things like wealth, status, and achievements that we can measure or compare. But true success, the kind that lasts and brings real satisfaction, is something deeper, more personal. It's about finding fulfillment in who we are, not just in what we have. Rebuilding ourselves requires a shift in focus from outer accomplishments to inner growth and well-being. This shift isn't always easy, because we've been conditioned to look for validation outside ourselves. We're often taught that our worth depends on what we can show others, what we can prove, or what society recognizes. But when we rebuild ourselves, we realize that success is about living in alignment with our true selves, living in a way that brings us peace and joy. This realignment requires us to question what we've always believed about success. We might need to let go of certain ambitions or expectations that no longer serve us, that perhaps weren't even ours to begin with. Think about it. How many goals have we pursued because we thought it was the right thing to do, or because someone else told us it would make us happy? Rebuilding ourselves means taking the time to understand our own desires, to ask ourselves what really matters at the end of the day. So it's about choosing goals that reflect our values, not just what society celebrates. When we prioritize inner fulfillment over outer recognition, we find that our path becomes clearer, more purposeful. This redefined view of success also brings a sense of contentment and freedom. We stop living by comparisons, constantly measuring ourselves against others. Instead, we embrace our unique journey, understanding that each of us is on our own path, with our own timing. When we let go of the pressure to keep up or fit in, we feel a sense of relief and empowerment. We can finally focus on what brings us true happiness and fulfillment, rather than feeling like we're in a race we didn't even choose to run. And that's liberating. It's freeing to know that our worth is not tied to a checklist of achievements, but to the quality of the life we're building from within. Rebuilding with this new understanding of success also impacts the relationships we cultivate. We start valuing people who encourage our growth, who support our journey of self-discovery, rather than those who may only value our accomplishments. It allows us to connect on a deeper level, where the focus is on mutual respect and shared values. We learn to appreciate people for who they are, just as we're learning to appreciate ourselves beyond what we can prove. And this leads to a richer, more meaningful experience in life, where the connections we form are rooted in authenticity and not just in status or appearances. In embracing a new definition of success, we give ourselves permission to take risks, to explore, and to follow our passions without fear of judgment. It might mean taking an unconventional path, one that doesn't always make sense to others. But when we're clear on our values and what truly fulfills us, we're less concerned with outside opinions. We're able to pursue a life that is genuinely our own, one that feels right to us, even if it looks different from the paths others take. This courage to live authentically is one of the most rewarding aspects of rebuilding ourselves. By shifting our focus from external success to inner fulfillment, we not only rebuild ourselves, but also create a life that feels meaningful, purposeful, and joyful. We begin to see that success is not about accumulation, but about alignment. It's about living each day with intention, with a sense of peace and gratitude for the journey we're on. As we continue on this path, let us remember that true success is about embracing who we are, pursuing what brings us joy, and creating a life that reflects our deepest values. As we journey through the process of rebuilding ourselves, one of the most profound steps we can take is to embrace our past experiences, both the triumphs and struggles. Every person faces challenges, and it's easy to feel weighed down by failures or disappointments. However, these experiences are not merely obstacles, they are vital components of our growth. Each setback carries valuable lessons, and acknowledging this transforms the way we view our history. Instead of seeing our past as a collection of mistakes, we can begin to reframe it as a rich tapestry of learning opportunities. Think about the times when you faced hardship. It might have been a failed relationship, a career setback, or personal loss. In those moments, it's common to feel like we're stuck or that we've lost our way. But when we take a step back and reflect, we often find that those challenging times spark change and growth. They prompted us to reassess our values, question our paths, and push beyond our limits. By facing adversity, we gain resilience, and through resilience, we learn about our true strength and capabilities. Embracing our past also involves practicing self-compassion. It's crucial to recognize that we are all human, and imperfection is part of our journey. Instead of beating ourselves up for past choices, we can choose to treat ourselves with kindness. Ask yourself, what would you say to a friend who is struggling with feelings of regret or shame? You would likely offer support, understanding, and encouragement. We deserve the same treatment. By forgiving ourselves for past mistakes, we free ourselves from the chains of guilt and shame, creating space for healing and renewal. In addition to self-compassion, embracing our past includes owning our story. Each of us has a unique narrative shaped by our experiences, and there's power in sharing that narrative. When we openly discuss our struggles, we not only validate our own experiences, but also create connections with others. Vulnerability fosters understanding and compassion, and it often encourages others to share their own stories. By embracing our past and being open about our journey, we contribute to a culture where healing and growth are valued and where we can all learn from one another. Moreover, recognizing the lessons embedded in our past helps us to build a clearer vision for our future. When we understand what we've been through, we can identify patterns and make conscious decisions about how we want to move forward. For instance, if we've previously struggled with self-doubt, we can actively work to counteract those feelings by setting goals that align with our true aspirations. We can remind ourselves of our strengths and celebrate our accomplishments, no matter how small they may seem. This conscious reflection and proactive approach allow us to navigate our paths with more clarity and intention. It's also essential to understand that while we embrace our past, we do not let it define us. The journey of rebuilding ourselves is about creating a new narrative, one where we are not merely products of our history, but active participants in shaping our future. This means taking ownership of our choices and actively engaging in the process of transformation. We can draw on our past experiences as sources of wisdom and strength, allowing them to guide us without dictating our worth or potential. In this journey, we must remain patient and compassionate with ourselves. Rebuilding is not an overnight process. It takes time to integrate our past experiences into our current lives and to recognize how they inform our present choices. However, with dedication and reflection, we can embrace our history, learn from it, and use it as a foundation for our future. By doing so, we cultivate resilience and develop a deeper understanding of ourselves, ultimately leading to a more fulfilled and authentic life. As we come to the final key point of our journey toward rebuilding ourselves, it's essential to recognize the significance of continuous growth and the power of embracing change. Life is inherently dynamic. We are constantly evolving, and our experiences shape us in profound ways. This evolution is not merely a one-time effort. It is an ongoing process that requires our active participation. Acknowledging that rebuilding ourselves is a lifelong journey allows us to approach our growth with openness and curiosity. Embracing change often begins with a mindset shift. Instead of fearing change, we can learn to see it as an opportunity for growth and self-discovery. Change can feel unsettling, and it's natural to resist it at times. However, it is in these moments of discomfort that we often find our greatest opportunities for transformation. When we learn to lean into the discomfort rather than shy away from it, we open ourselves up to new possibilities and experiences that can enrich our lives. Take a moment to reflect on past changes you've experienced. Perhaps it was a career shift, a move to a new city, or the end of a relationship. Initially, these changes may have felt overwhelming, and you might have questioned your path. Yet, looking back, you can probably see how those experiences pushed you out of your comfort zone and led you to new opportunities, insights, or connections. Change is often the catalyst that propels us forward, even when it feels daunting. To embrace change fully, we must cultivate a mindset of adaptability. Life can be unpredictable, and being able to adjust our perspectives and approaches is crucial. This adaptability doesn't mean we abandon our goals or values. Rather, it allows us to remain open to new avenues and solutions. When faced with obstacles, instead of becoming discouraged, we can ask ourselves, what can I learn from this? How can I pivot to move forward? By reframing challenges as opportunities for growth, we empower ourselves to take charge of our narrative. As we navigate this journey, it's also essential to surround ourselves with a supportive community. Engaging with others who are on similar paths can provide motivation, encouragement, and fresh perspectives. Connecting with individuals who inspire us can help us see possibilities we may not have considered before. They can remind us of our strength, hold us accountable, and share their own experiences, enriching our understanding of the rebuilding process. Whether it's friends, mentors, or support groups, these connections can play a vital role in our growth. Additionally, we should practice self-reflection regularly. Taking time to check in with ourselves allows us to assess where we are on our journey and what changes may be necessary. Reflecting on our thoughts, feelings, and experiences enables us to gain insight into our evolving identities. Journaling can be a powerful tool in this process, helping us to articulate our thoughts and emotions, recognize patterns, and set intentions for the future. This practice fosters a deeper understanding of ourselves and clarifies the direction we want to take as we continue to rebuild. Let's not forget that growth also involves celebrating our progress. Each step we take, no matter how small, is worth acknowledging. Celebrating achievements reinforces our motivation and reminds us of our resilience.